Hey, good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, it doesn't work without you guys. So let's get open for business here and let's wake up the football gods this Friday morning. Don't forget tonight, 9 o'clock Eastern, like always, we got our live stream. And of course, it's going to get live. You got Des Bryant on a daily basis talking about his love and wanting to come back to the Dallas Cowboys. We've got Dak Prescott. Will he get paid or will he get traded, of course, which has been talked to at nauseum. It's amazing how every other article is about if the Cowboys trade him, landing spots for Dak Prescott, what to do with Dak Prescott, is he an elite one? It's just literally, it is the talk of the town. I think ESPN, the NFL Network, all of the Cowboy writers, I think they all should chip in and be part of Dak Prescott's salary, that they should help pay for it. Because Lord knows they have made a fortune in the off season and during the season off of Dak Prescott's back. Because I'm just wondering if they didn't have Dak Prescott to talk about, who would they talk about? But anyway, be that as it may, I'm going to leave that right there. As we start looking, as our coaching staff is getting together now and beginning to assemble the team, they are trying to figure out what guys of those 26 free agents we want to keep. They want to figure out where we need to go into the draft because, guys, we're only a week and a half away from the combine, getting an opportunity to look up close, to kick the tires, and look under the hood of the future NFL talent. And with the Cowboys having the 17th pick and high picks, of course, in each round, they need to make an impact better than what they did last year. Let's be honest. Tony Pollard was really the only bright spot for the Dallas Cowboys in that draft. Now, we've gotten some great players in the past in the draft, but you need an immediate influx of talent to bolster your roster. We did not get that punch the last 2 years immediately off the bat. But we need to change that again this year. We need to get somebody who's a day one starter, who is a game changer. Now, one thing that's going to be going for the Dallas Cowboys is you have to understand the NFL is cyclical and goes through cycles. Here's an amazing statistic that I actually didn't think about until after I read it and said, yeah, I guess it's true. But do you realize that nobody has won more division titles in the NFC East over the last 10 years than Dak Prescott? And I saw that and I was like, wait, not Tony Romo, not Eli Manning, not RG3 or Carson Wentz. Nobody has been more division titles than Dak. Most of them don't even have as many, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. But then again, we're talking about the NFC East, which is not like any other division. Every year you can count on New England being in the playoffs and winning their division. You just can count on that. You just know that. But here it is in the NFC East. Nobody has repeated since the 2003, actually 2002, 2003, 2004 Philadelphia Eagles. But since that time, even though there's been Super Bowl champions, they haven't repeated as division champions. You look at it and say, well, of course they're going to say the Eagles, just like we said last year, Dallas Cowboys and the Eagles, two of the best teams in the NFC. Great teams. Cowboys should repeat, but yet we don't. The Eagles win the Super Bowl. They don't repeat. But the amazing thing is the Eagles, the year before they won the Super Bowl, were in the basement. And the year before that, when we won it, we were in the basement the year before that. In fact, what doesn't get taken into consideration when you start seeing these preseason polls and, way too soon polls is basically they go through and say everybody was a playoff team. They're ranked high. But if you go from 2018 to 2019, the Colts, the Bears, the Cowboys, the Chargers, the Rams were all playoff teams. In fact, the Rams were a Super Bowl team. they didn't make the playoffs. There's always that turnover. And the fact that Baltimore versus the 49ers were the Super Bowl teams that weren't in the playoffs the year before is an amazing thing. Now, with all that being said, at this moment, if you go by what happened this past year and look at our schedule going forward, by what happened last year, we have the 30th toughest schedule in the NFL going forward. 30th. So that means there's 29 teams that have a worse schedule than the Dallas Cowboys. So, I mean, let's just listen to this real quick. So we have home games, of course, against the Redskins, the Giants, and the Eagles. But we play Arizona. We play the NFC champion team, San Francisco. But if you go back from recent history, where the Rams, they came way back down to earth, and typically the team from the NFC comes back by 3 games on average after going to the Super Bowl. Happened to the Eagles, happened to the Falcons, happened to, it just basically that's just the way it is. They're just not the same team. They have a shorter off season, so less time to heal. You've been successful, so people want your coaches, they want your players want to get paid. It's just hard to repeat and stay at that elite level. Other teams have had, like the Cowboys, a month for players to get surgery, to get worked on, and start, figuring out what you're doing already. So they get a jump start on you. We play at home against Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and we play at Atlanta. Think about that. You got the Eagles and San Francisco, only 2 playoff teams right there that you play at home. On the road, we play, of course, the Eagles, the Giants, and the Redskins, and we've done pretty well in our division. And we play Baltimore in Baltimore, which will be tough. We play Cincinnati, Minnesota, Seattle, and the Rams. It's not as bad as it could be. However, like I said, some of those teams that were good last year, it could be that San Francisco has a Super Bowl hangover and that they're crap. It could be that the Rams have a resurgence and all of a sudden the Rams are good again. But Seattle has been good. They've made the playoffs every year, but they're usually like one and done. Seattle has not been that elite team without that defense for several years now. And of course, playing in Seattle is always hell. But not the worst schedule in the world. In fact, not even close. So this is going to be a boost for Mike McCarthy. And again, if everything holds true, and I'm not saying that the Eagles can't win the division again, because things don't happen until they happen. But recent history will say that the Eagles will come back down to earth. They'll have a slightly tougher schedule than what we have. And I look at the Eagles. We have a lot of holes. We have a lot of free agents, which is the truth. But going into having a new system and a new coach is now going to make teams start over on figuring out what the Cowboys will do. Will be more unpredictable than we had in the past. Jason Garrett regime rarely changed anything. You knew the tendencies. You knew Zeke Elliott was going to run the ball more times than not on first down, and you counter against that. So now you got Mike McCarthy, who has had some of the best quarterbacks in the history of football, between Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers and the end of Joe Montana's career, who has had weapons before, now has a bellwether back. And using, at least as what we hear from them, it will be about the players that we have and the weapons that we have as the way that we use them. I don't know that he's ever had so many weapons to use on offense, between Tony Pollard, Zeke Elliott, depending on who we sign. If we keep Amari Cooper, as well as Michael Gallup and Randall Cobb. I think Cobb will be here because he is familiar with him and so on. And may end up wanting to stay here with him, since he was like, Dad, come get me, for less money. But we'll have to wait and see. We'll find out in a couple of weeks on that one. But from that standpoint alone, this offense should be better. The defense, well, right now you got no place to go but up. And I think a change of philosophy is what's definitely going to be needed. So we'll see how all that works out, but putting that out there. And as always, friends, I want to thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing. And the shot glass racks are heading out today, friends. They're heading out today. Mike will be taking those and getting those sent out, as well as shot glasses for all of you new channel members. I'm Mark Holmes, and I hope you guys have a great Friday. Be safe out there. I'll see you soon.